Welcome back to BBC's annual programming of The Year in Review. We will highlight the most electrifying, scandalous, and juicy stories of the year. 1921, a year where people are entering this new era of prosperity, and with it, an uneasy undercurrent, which was filled with numerous surprises and exciting events. The rise of the KKK and the Invisible Empire, triggered by the new anti-foreigner trend in the United States, coupled with the 1921 Immigration Act, which was also known as the Emergency Quota Act of 1921, greatly hampered the flow of foreigners, and with it, the cultural diffusion that takes place as a result. On the political level, the Washington Disarmament Conference set a precedent for world leaders to meet in order to restrict heavy weapons between superpowers of the world. And lastly, we will present to you the Teapot Dome scandal and all of the exclusive information that BBC has captured. Firstly, we will address the story of the Ku Klux Klan. This year, the Ku Klux Klan reaches peak membership of over 4 million white Anglo-Saxon Protestant men as well as women. William Simmons started this second resurgence of the Invisible Empire in 1915, inspired by Griffith's film The Birth of a Nation. This film portrayed the Klan as a heroic group that performed secret rituals, wore costumes, and protected the white race from dangerous blacks, Jews, Catholics, and many other non-white groups. Millions of people flocked to join the Klan, including officers of the law and government officials. The KKK is most notoriously known for its large parades and burning of crosses. We'll now go to one of our clips from earlier this year, where our reporter Abhishek Bundra was at the scene of one of the KKK parades.
The KKK here is parading in Oklahoma. As you can see, they are over there in their white robes. They all keep giving me dirty looks. I wonder why. Well, it looks like the parade here is over. Here comes Imperial Wizard William Simmons. Let me go try to get a word with him. Hello, Mr. Simmons. Mr. Simmons, would you please care to give us a few words?
Oh yes, I would be honored to.
Mr. Simmons, what influenced you to start up the KKK again and make it even stronger than ever?
Well, the Klan amazed me after I saw The Birth of a Nation. I later obtained the original Klan's prescript and rewrote it for my new Klan. I gathered up some old Klan members and new people who were hurt or knew someone hurt by a black man or immigrant. Also, immigrants such as Jews and Catholics are coming into our country and ruining our culture. They take away jobs from us white men. We are just trying to preserve our white culture.
I see. How do you receive so many new members in such a short time?
We strongly advertise the Klan to any Anglo-Saxon Protestants. They realized it was a true American organization that would protect their culture and their women from blacks and other immigrants. We traveled throughout the country picking up members, including influential politicians and law enforcement officers. They joined us because of their strong patriotism and Christian faith.
Mr. Simmons, do you encourage violent acts towards your target groups?
No way, I do not encourage any of those attacks. We are a fraternal and spiritual group. But if, for example, a black man rapes a white woman, we will warn him by burning a cross on his lawn. If he does not respond to this warning, violent action may occur. But I don't want that to happen. We act violently only as a warning to try to prevent further actions from occurring.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons. Now, back to the studio.
We have here Michael Gao, an expert on the KKK and racial discrimination. Dr. Gao, what are your opinions on the interview you just heard?
Well, obviously, Simmons is not being entirely truthful. For one thing, I believe that the Klan acts violently in order to intimidate all immigrants and citizens of the United States that are not white, Anglo-Saxon, and Protestant. The ritual of burning crosses and tar and feathering African Americans is obviously not provoked, and they do it merely to further their own ends. I, of course, do not approve of such actions. If immigrants are taking jobs, then Americans must simply work harder to get those jobs back. Immigrants are an integral part of the cultural melting pot that America offers. On the base of the Statue of Liberty, we proclaim to the world to give us their poor and encourage immigration. This type of anti-immigration advocated by the KKK is simply naive and arrogance at their best.
It seems like you're quite opinionated on this issue.
I have my share of opinions.
Thank you for joining us, Dr. Gao. Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you, Dr. Gao.
You're welcome. We will now go back to the time when Sacco and Vanzetti were executed.
It has been 7 years marked by debate from both sides of the issue and a complete overhaul of the American legal system. But finally, the anarchist, atheist, and murderous pigs Nicola Sacco and Bartolomeo Vanzetti are finally going to be executed.
You mean the falsely accused, improperly tried martyrs, Sacco and Vanzetti?
They were draft evaders. They were part of an anarchist organization notorious for its bombings. They were immigrants, and they were freaking Italian! Here's a BBC reporter with the coverage.
Wait a second. They deserve to be executed for that?
Oh, well, I mean, they killed those 2 people too, I guess. Yeah.
That's assuming they're actually guilty.
Well, fortunately for our viewers, BBC has acquired courtroom evidence from an eyewitness of the murders.
What an experience!
You got pwned.
Falsely accused, improperly tried martyrs, huh?
Does that prove they did it?
That was Sacco shooting them and Vanzetti standing right next to him.
Okay. So what do Sacco and Vanzetti really look like?
One of them had a mustache or something like that. I don't know. But Sacco had a gun on him which matched the ballistics test.
Only the ballistics experts for the prosecution testified that it was a match. The witnesses for the defense swore that the bullets weren't a match.
Sacco's cap was at the crime scene.
In the courtroom, the cap was too small.
Neither one of them has a good alibi.
Vanzetti was working at the fish market, and Sacco was getting a passport at the Italian consulate. They each had several friends testify on their behalf.
Yeah, Italian atheist friends. Reliable people right there.
You're just an anti-Italian, anti-immigrant, anti-radical pawn of those Red Scare proponents.
You're willing to put 2 men associated with terrorist activities back on the streets?
Convicted by whom? Judge Webster Thayer? A judge who was prejudiced against them from the start, and a bunch of anti-Italian Bostonians in the jury? It was a political witch hunt.
Sir, how do you feel about the radicals who use violence to try and further their point?
Don't even talk about those pigs in front of me. They deserve to die, every single last one of them. How can we allow these people to roam our streets freely when all they do is contribute to the downfall of organized society? These anarchists are the very reason that this country seems so insecure at times. Anarchists are the bane of society. I'm making my personal mission to make sure that as many of these despicable people end up in jail.
Some have called your mission a witch hunt. What do you say to that?
Believe me, these men are a lot worse than witches.
These men were dangerous to the public and were willing to resort to violence to realize their goals.
They weren't on trial for being anarchists or even terrorists. They were on trial for the murders of Frederick Parmenter and Alessandro Bardelli. There wasn't sufficient evidence to convict them of that crime.
The prosecuting attorneys didn't show up to the trial to convince you of their innocence or guilt. They only had to prove it to the jurors, which they did. According to the American legal system, that is sufficient. Think you're better than the legal system? You an anarchist too? Think we should abolish the whole thing?
No, but they were innocent. They were convicted because of their political beliefs and their ethnicity. You can't deny that.